Welcome back to a new update video. As always, I'm using the Fractal method, explanation video with rules and so on. I will link at the end of the video. Okay, well then let's jump into AMC. And as always, if you want to see the whole thing, if you want to see my price targets, if you want to see if I think about a 1-part or 2-part squeeze, and in general the whole fractal of AMC, I will link the big update video at the end of the video. Okay, for the tracking today, well, I think nothing really happened and we can move on, right? Okay, let's zoom in. So, first of all, I know it was a 30 to 35% pullback today, but this is maybe surprising you. I think it was the perfect day, the absolute perfect day. Why? Because I think for our bullish versions, now today we know exactly where we are. Just to say how we will do this video today, we will talk today about 2 bullish versions, 1 bearish version, one after another, so there is absolutely no misunderstanding. So we start with bullish version number 1. Just before we start with this, of course the super duper bullish version is dead since today, which only shows that tracking only with EMAs, because that was the main point for the super duper versions, is not fractal. EMAs are not fractal. If you're looking for if you want to compare something 5 years ago, because the EMA back then is the same like today, most of the time it will be wrong. It's the same like the 200 EMA. It doesn't matter. Good. For now, for the first bullish version, which is also my main tracking version right now. Just for explanation, both AMC, of course, both 1 hour chart. Left side today, from March 2026 till today. And right side from January 5th, 2021 till January 25th, 2021. And I think you already see what I mean. Because the funny thing is, this version I posted today already on the homepage. And to be exact, I think it was half an hour or 1 hour before we got this drop. I wrote in this update on the homepage, I could see that we're doing now the 0.5 pullback, that we starting and finishing this pullback already today in 1 day candle. Okay. Was a bit surprising, but okay. Was okay. I mean, okay, the dilution news helped, but okay. But because I said it was a perfect day for the bullish version, is because for this version, we know exactly where we are right now. And to make that absolutely clear, we would be in January the 20th at 10 o'clock, 2021. Exactly this pullback candle would be this pullback candle. Perfect. We did from our A bottom to our B peak a quite perfect 0.5 pullback. The same what we did in 2021, from our A low to our B peak, we did a quite perfect 0.5 FIB pullback. Perfect. So, what would happen next? Well, back then, we did just going sideways before we gapped. And what I'm talking about, what is coming after that? The first part squeeze comes after that. And what we did now is we did this 0.5 pullback. So we expecting now just doing nothing and going sideways. The only question for this is, how long does this take? In my opinion, this is the only question we have right now. So if we look from here, this took only 2 days. Problem is, from our all-time low to this knife point, it took in 2021, 15 days. Right now, from our all-time low to this point today was 87 days. I wouldn't compare this one-to-one. The only question for me is this taking till Friday this week? Or do we need another week? So we need the whole next week, or maybe even a week more into July. Yeah. I think only price action will tell us that. But we are fucking close. With this checking, we are fucking close. Before the next question comes, let's say we are this Friday here. Yeah, or next week Friday. Do we still need to do this? Do we still need to do January 25 to January 27? And I would say maybe. The only thing which is giving us the answer is volume. If we are here, whenever, this week, next week, and we jump and doing this gap up, if we get massive volume, I would say we can jump this. If not, well, we know how this looks like. Yeah? So let's say we're getting this gap, yeah? Open then here and doing something like that. We know where we are. So at least we can track it then. Yeah? Now for the rules. What is allowed and what is not allowed for this version? First of all, is this our bottom? Is this our low? I really have to say, for my tracking, so it is perfect. I would say, yeah. And to be fair, I'm a little bit proud of myself, but I would have nailed it half an hour before it happened. Yeah, so it would be perfect. Could we go lower? Well, normally, and I say 80% of the time, B is doing a 0.5 pullback. So it would be okay. There are a few cases where B is also pulling back to the 618 fib. In that case, it's okay to go to 176 or maximum 165. Yeah, something like this. But I don't want to go lower. Yeah. If we don't stop here. And if we break the 786 fib, and that means if we break 151, it's over. I don't see that at all. Yeah, even for the bearish version, I don't see that yet. But if we do that, why ever? And that's not a personal thing. 150, and it's not 2026. Yeah, B is not allowed to drop that low. No way. Another thing, if we now, why ever, suddenly going up, and we break this high from Monday, so if we break over 305, this version is also that. Yeah, we have to stay down here to make that clear. This one is bullish version number 2. We'll come to that in a second. So the only thing we should do now is this, maybe next week, going sideways, fucking boring shit, and doing nothing. And this would be the first time where I really would be happy if we're just doing nothing. And to make that clear, doing nothing. You see that here. Yeah, nothing. I mean, you could also go to 256, 57, coming down again, something like this. Yeah, really boring shit. That's the only thing. Hoppala. And one fun point, I mean, could be wrong. Yeah. If you already watch me longer, you know how fucking stubborn I was for waiting for this higher low. Yeah, because my main tracking, like here, was that we're doing a higher low and then we got. We never did that. So right now we have the same thing here. Yeah, because between this is just a higher low. And we ended on the Friday before we ran up under the 786. So I'm not saying this has to be this, but if we see something like this, till this or next Friday. Yeah. And we are closing on Friday under the 786. Oh man. This would be a good sign. Yeah. The only thing is, if you ask me now from where, yeah, I don't know, because we didn't make the peak of this higher low yet, in my opinion. So we have to wait for this. Yeah. So the only question for this version is, how long does it take? Nothing more. Okay, now to the second version. Second version is this. It's similar, I know. But the only difference here is that we already did B. We already did this. This was this. We already ran up. We didn't had a gap, but it was a steep run up. So you could say because of volatility, we just did this in open market. We made this high and made a massive pullback. I mean, I don't like to go with percentages, but this was a 21% drop. This is a 36% drop. And this is a 22% drop, so could be. But in that case, we would sit now at January 25th, this pullback. How can this prove that? For the down targets, we have the same thing. Yeah. For the down targets, we are not allowed to break 152. Yeah. 786. We are not allowed to break this. But if we are in here, yeah, we should see this or next week a steep uptrend still breaking over the 305, but not going, and we just pulling back. This would be this peak here. We would still need a pullback and then we go. I'm just saying I don't like this version really, yeah, because our fib levels are just too perfect for our first version. But this version is therefore if we break this on next week, this level. And of course, I mean to say that, yeah, if we squeeze next Monday, if we just do this, okay, of course we can break this, yeah. But to say this, you will know, you will see the difference, yeah. So if we're just going, you will see the difference. You will just run, yeah. But if you slowly, or let's say 20-50% on one day, something like this, and then stopping, this is not the squeeze we are looking for. This would be this. Yeah. But to make it absolutely clear, yeah, version number 1 is my favorite. Yeah, that's before we go to the bearish one, that's also my conclusion. Yeah, for AMC. My main tracking right now is this. Yeah. Okay, now for the bearish version, and that's pretty simple. It's this. Yeah, for the bearish version, we would be in November 2020, or if you wanted more bearish, we would be even in September 2020. How could we prove that? Well, the thing is, we would have done this right now. Yeah. We also made a pullback here, and to make it absolutely clear, this would be our A bottom. To make that correct, make this clear here. And we pulled back under this 618 fib. So if we're doing now the same thing, and here becomes tricky, that's why I would like to stay over this. But if we do something like here and we bounce, that's not immediately bearish. But if we go that deep and bounce, coming up here in July and stopping here, getting slower, pulling back, well, then this is this, and this is this. This would be the first sign that it's bearish. And of course, you will do this after that. And to make that absolutely clear, that means all-time low. That means between 60 to 10 cents till end of year. This won't be happen in 1 or 2 weeks. This slowly fucking go the whole year into January, slowly going down. Absolutely bullshit. And then we can track it bullish again. To make it clear, right now, this is a no option for me because it looks so good. But to have it on the table, to make it absolutely clear, this could happen. Yeah? But again, also, I would expect this level, because we already talked about that many times, not here. I would expect it at between 5, 6, 7, 10. Yeah, not here. So we will just keep it as an alternative. Yeah. So again, conclusion. First version is my favorite. Second version, that we are in January 25, impossible, not really working for me. And take a look at on the bearish version. Good. Now on the tinfoil and dilution thing. Yeah. Before we go into the dilution chart, because that's the second thing which makes me so extremely bullish on AMC right now. Just a few words. First of all, as expected, people started crying today. Because I already talked about it in a few videos. Every time an AMC is diluting, every little child is starting crying. Every fucking time. Yeah, I don't understand why. Because dilution for AMC is bullish. But a few things. A few people still don't understand that, in my opinion. Adam Aaron. I mean, you can like him or not. Doesn't matter. But in my opinion, he is not an ass. Yeah. But what people don't understand, Adam Aaron is the CEO of AMC. Me, I, and you. He doesn't care about us. And it's not his job to care about us. He doesn't care about the stock price. Its only thing he is caring about is AMC surviving. Are all workers at AMC having a job? So he's only caring is AMC has AMC money, and if it's probable. That's the only thing. That's not bad or evil or working with hedge funds. Second thing, because of dilution today. Why didn't he dilute it earlier? Why didn't he dilute it later? Yeah. Before we go into dilution chart, first of all, the blackout period ended yesterday. It was the first day where he could dilute. Pretty simple. Also, why didn't he wait? Because why didn't he sell at $10, $20, $50, $180 or whatever? Before we go into the dilution chart, it's the same like 2021. He started diluting here. Yeah, I mean, he also started diluting here. Yeah, but here he announced another dilution. It was 50 million back then. I will say only 10% of this 50 million dilution were sold here. The rest of this 50 million dilution were sold into this run in the first part of the squeeze. Because there is a rule that companies aren't allowed to dilute into volatility. I don't know exactly how long the blackout period for this is, but I would imagine he could, or if he's not selling now, he only can sell here. Why? He's announcing it before the run, because 90% of the dilution back then was sold here. He made money off this. And especially, we looked at in the dilution chart, the 50 million were finished exactly at this point. Yeah? Okay. So let's go into the dilution chart. Again, careful. It will be fucking wide. So 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and it's fucking wide. Okay. So just to do a little summary, this dilution chart is from September 2020 till September 2021. Yeah. Our 150 dilution announcement, which was completed a week ago, I still compare it to this 200 million dilution, which started in December. The same like our 150 million dilution this year. Then we went to all-time low, same we did this year. Then we went in the same uptrend. And back here in January 20 to 25, the 200 million dilution was announced to be completed. Back then, on the same day, he announced a 50 million dilution to start. Now it's a little bit different. The 150 million dilution ended last week. The 59 dilution started today. So I thought that this 50 million dilution would be this convertible shares I was talking in the last video. Yeah, because when AMC goes over 566, the debt buyers can convert this into shares. I think this is now wrong. Yeah? I think that this 50 million dilution, which was announced at January 25th, is our 95 million dilution today. Does it mean we are in January 5th? Again, I would say January 20 to January 22nd works better. Yeah? And it's not 100% the same because the 150 million dilution ended last week. Yeah? But also here, he announced it down here. And it was completed in the peak of the first part of the squeeze. So also here, 10% of this 50 million dilution were sold here. The rest of this 50 million was sold in this uptrend here, in this squeeze. The same thing which will happen this time. If we are bullish, if I'm right, if we're doing a 1-2-part squeeze, the 95 million will be finished there. And of course, then the announcement will come, hey, the 95 million dilution is on Adam Aaron kicked the squeeze. Will come. I bet you for that. Same thing. If I'm right, if we're doing a 2-part, and this is the rest of the year, it will be funny and interesting to see if we get the same announcement of these two dilutions in front of the second part. Would be January, May next year, maybe longer. Yeah, but it would be interesting if we get the same thing. And also here, people will start crying again. The man is killing the squeeze. And even if we then doing this last dilution at all-time highs or whatever number, people will cry. But I mean, tell me, I could be wrong, but how I see it, the dilution wasn't bad. It's not evil. Maybe Adam N gave us even a hint. Could be. Why not? I mean, the thing is that we diluted 200 million in December 2020. We diluted 150 million this year. We made after that an all-time low. We ran up to the point where we are. Last week, the 150 million dilution were completed. The same like in 2021. In 2021, then he announced the 50 million dilution in front of the squeeze. And today he announced 95 million dilution. Maybe in front of the squeeze. Could be a hint. Maybe. Or he's really working with hedge fund and fuck him. But again, for what I showed here, conclusion, mega bullish. I know. Many people are crying. I'm mega bullish. Okay. Little update to GME. So first, the same as AMC. Yeah, if you want the big picture, if you want to know how price targets, what my price target look like, how the squeeze should look like, I will link the big roadmap video at the end of the video. Okay, now we look what we have done this week. It wasn't so much, but at least something. Here, just saying, we start with the bearish version just because I did the German video in front of the English one, and I already have it laid like that. So yeah, for the bearish version, it's quite easy. Yeah, if you break $20, or to be exact, if you break 19.69. And with this tracking, I am pretty sure this will happen. The bullish one, not so much. But for the bearish version, yeah, I'm confident. If you break 1965, you will do this. Yeah, I would even say if you break under $20, yeah, but to be 100% exact, and this time I would even say, and not what you never say 100, but 95%. If you break this line, it's over for this year at least. Why? Well, if you look at this whole thing, yeah, this is our A with a perfect 0.5 pullback, up, down, perfect bounce. This here is just a higher low for this A. And if you have watched me already, you know what a higher low has to do before it's ended. It has to do a V under A. And our A bottom is exactly here at 13.63. In that case, we never ended this higher low. And in that case, the first thing you will do is drop under the market crash of Japan, which is around 17.16. That's why so many people are screaming, we have to drop to $17-16. Then we will bounce and squeeze. For my tracking idea, you will get a bounce here at 17.16. You will go up. Everyone will scream, squeeze. In that case, you won't break this trend. You will reject around $24. After that, you drop to $13. And this will take place till October, November. Yeah? Then you will do till January, May, your higher low, and then you would have the next chance for the squeeze. Yeah? That's my bearish tracking. Yeah? And I'm pretty confident in this. Now to the bullish version. At least for the bullish version, we now know for 100% that this was a peak, the eBay news, that this was our midpoint, and this was our T. That's fixed now. Yeah, we were arguing so many times, no, the T could be this could be higher, low. No, it isn't. We broke lower today. This is not a higher low, it broke. So, the thing is, technically, we have finished with everything. If this is a higher low, yeah, then we broke under the 786. We broke V under A, also perfect. And the T is finished because it started here. It went lower here. Perfect, finished. So for the most bullish way, we go up from here. Pretty easy. I would still say even for the bullish version, we need one last drop to 2040 and then go. I would like that more, but going up from here, perfect. What is my conclusion then for AMC, for GME? My main problem for GME is right now, still, the whole last month, GME is not doing what it should do this year. What do I mean with that? If you look at 2024, AMC at GME should be already here because this move was happened in the time where AMC did what it's doing right now. Yeah, AMC at GME already did that. The same thing in 2021. Maybe people remember that more. Here, this here is January 22nd, January 25th. Here. You know what AMC were doing. AMC was doing the pullback, but GME already did this. Yeah. So it's the first time since 2021 that GME is at the second place. Normally, 2021, 4 and 5. AMC was always squeezing from the lows and GME from the highs. This time, AMC is on the run, for fuck's sake, And GME is just doing a pullback every fucking day. So something is different. Yeah. And I say that now really absolutely clearly. I don't like GME. I really don't like it. Not because of GME. Yeah, because who cares? Yeah. Just because I don't like the fractal for GME, especially this year. Yeah. I say it again. If I wouldn't know that this is GME, if I wouldn't know that there was synchronization with AMC and COS, and how GME should behave, I would track this 100% bearish. I would say I'm shorting this thing. Yeah. The only thing which is going against that is that it kind of makes no sense to end synchronization with the other two before the fractal is ended. So, but still, my conclusion for GME itself is this. Yeah. For GME itself, I am fucking bearish. I think this will happen. And I say it too, I hope I'm wrong. And of course, I can be wrong. For the conclusion for AMC, COS, and GME, because I'm still kind of the opinion you can't be bearish on GME but bullish on AMC. I just have to say we have extremely bullish checking on AMC. We have good bullish checking on COS. I will show that in the next video. I don't have enough time for this today, but it still looks perfect. The only thing which is not working for me personally, and I'm also human, I can be wrong, is GME. So I would just say, fuck it. Yeah. Maybe I oversee something and fuck it. We will see. Yeah. I give AMC, timing is always bad, but maximum 2-3 weeks. So when AMC is starting to squeeze, we will see. Is GME going with it or not? Yeah, then we know if the synchronization is still there or not. Yeah. Okay. Little update to BYND. Only a small update today. If you're interested in the big thing, I will link the big update today at the end of the video again. Today we just look what we have done today, and not much. I mean, it's a good thing. We had nearly a market crash today, to just say, and BYND did what, 3%. So okay, yeah. The thing is, for BYYND, we are tracking this as our last micro high low before we go. Is it finished? And I still have to say no. Yeah, because you know, a higher low is always ending in a V under A. Our A bottom is here, exactly at 67.64 cents. And if you look closely, we didn't broke it. We didn't touch it. So someone sent me a screenshot. Yeah. A colleague of me sent me a screenshot. She bought for more live data on TradingView, and on her chart we did a one single wick down here. In that case, we finished it. Right now, I don't have it, and I ask other people, they also don't have it. So, I mean, what we are talking about? We are talking about 0.70%. Maybe we're doing that in pre-mark, whatever. But the thing is also, for BYYND, big moves always happening Friday, Monday, same like AMC and GME. So if not, we still have to do this till Friday. Yeah. Then maybe if we still need till Friday, a micro high low, yeah, something like that. Yeah. It still looks bullish. Just these candles, I really have to say. Yeah. This candle is fucking stupid. Yeah, but it's micro tracking. Yeah. For levels, just to say. Of course, my main tracking is we still need to go down here. Yeah. Some 1-2% down. Yeah. But again, we are not allowed to touch or break 66 cents, this low from June 10. Because if we do that, well, then this is dead again. It's not completely dead, but we have to look for a new V then. And then we have to do the higher low again. And yeah, time. Yeah. And of course, the bearish alternative is still there. Yeah. We are not allowed to break this trend. Yeah. That's a personal thing. Yeah. I don't want to break down this trend. What's absolutely fixed is we are not allowed to touch or break 57 cents. If we touch or break 57 cents, this higher low is dead. End of story. This will become TOM. End of story. You will break all-time low. End of story. The big macro higher low since October is also dead. This will become T. Wherever you bounce down here, if you do reverse splits or OTC or whatever, you still have to do the macro high. It will take time, and the full card of house would collapse if you do that. Conclusion, before the levels to the upside first. If you go up from here without this, yeah, I would say anything over 70 cents. Yeah, so let's say if we do this, it's too high. Otherwise, we do some stupid candles like this, but I think 70 cents is already some kind of confirmation that the V is in. Of course, everything over 73. Perfect. And if we break 84, we don't talk about bearish alternatives anymore. Yeah, that means upside then. For the conclusion, nothing changed on Beyond. My conclusion is I'm still bearish on it just because we broke the 786 on this. Yeah, because normally this was our A. And A is not breaking under the 786. But okay, it's still tracking. But I wouldn't be surprised if someday suddenly we get a massive knife down here. I wouldn't be surprised. That's why my conclusion is still bearish. As long as we don't break 84 cents. If we break 84 cents, I change my conclusion into bullish. And I will show that on another stock too. There's a reason for it. There's a possibility for this. Yeah, I still have my position, but conclusion is I want to go out of this to change my bearish thinking into bullish. Okay, next one, FFAI. Also for the big roadmap video, I will link at the end of the video again. Today we just look what we have done. And there is good news on FFAI. For the bullish version, we are finished today because we tracked this as higher low. We were talking about that we need, you see, I have a lot of alets here already because I still have my position. Our V&A is here at 27 cents. And we were talking since weeks, even months, that we need to come lower than this to finish this shit. And I hate FFAI. Yeah. And today, we did it. We broke under it. Perfect. So, what's the next move? So first of all, back in 2021, FFAI Is goes with AMC and GME. Maybe we're doing the same thing. FFAI is finished. So if we're waiting for AMC and GME, we wait to Friday, Monday-ish. What could we do till then? Yeah? Because if not, we can just go from here. Just saying. If not, I would expect doing a micro higher low to the macro higher low. Yeah. To make that absolutely clear, I can't hear myself anymore saying this. Yeah. Macro higher low, micro higher low, micro higher low. Yeah, but that's the thing how tickers are spending time to the point where they break. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, something like this. What we shouldn't break, in my opinion, is 45. Yeah. So if we see something like this, forget any micro, macro, higher lows or whatever. This is bullish and we go. Yeah. For the question already, can we go lower? Yes, we can. We have our bounce level here. Yeah, so something in this range, I would say yes. So something between 26 to 23-ish cents. Yeah, something low here we can go. Yeah. What we are not allowed to do is touching or breaking 20 cents. It's the same, even the same level like GNS and FLNA. If you break this higher low is dead, same like beyond. This becomes T, reverse split, OTC, bankruptcy, blah, 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 blah. And of course, even if you don't do that, we would still have to do a macro higher low. So in the least worst case, we would still have a lot of time to finish this shit. Yeah. For conclusion, kind of bullish because, yeah, maybe we get a chance. This is finished and we can go squeezing. And we don't have low price targets for this either. So fucking do it. Yeah. Okay, little update to Virgin Galactic. And for Virgin Galactic, I sadly have to say I have bad news. Yeah. For the tracking, there's nothing much to say. All-time high C, lower high, midpoint. And the problem here is what we did today. Previously, this was our A. Yeah. And as you maybe already know, A is doing a 0.5 or 618 pullback. What A isn't allowed to do is breaking the 786 fib, which we didn't do yet. Yeah, you see this? We bounced, I think, 1 cent over it. But the thing is, I only saw 2 tickers out of hundreds where the A came this low. Yeah. Normally, when you break 50% between the 786 and the 618, you will just drop under it. Yeah. There is a tiny, tiny chance that you bounce here. I would say 1% or even less, but I don't think this is A. We went too low. Okay, so for a bullish alternative, because we did it for beyond 2, could this be higher low? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. In that case, you will come lower here, but you have to bounce over this. Yeah, you have to bounce, of course, over 213. Yeah, then you maybe get a chance. I don't think that. But to make that absolutely clear, I have no position. Yeah, I said already in the last videos, I'm waiting for this break, 648. And that's the reason when I say I am waiting, that's the reason. Not to be, I'm right, because it's pretty easy. If you go over this, it's pretty easy to be bullish. Yeah, but that's the reason for it. To have confirmation of bullishness. Of course, I buy in late. Of course, it's more expensive. But at least I know I don't buy a knife. That's the only reason for it. Okay, so for conclusion, you maybe get a chance that this is your higher low. A is dead with this move, in my opinion. Maybe you get a chance. If not, my main version for this right now is still that this is T. Yeah. Also, just because of how it looked like, you know, our main letters were also a pretty steep up, peak and down. Yeah, this here was okay. It had its chance, but this here is more sideways. Yeah. What would happen if we do that? If this is right, well, then you will find your new all-time low wherever it is. You would still have to do your macro higher low, and then we can track it again. Yeah. So for me personally, and I have no position to make that absolutely clear. for all the people who also don't have a position, no financial advice. Wait till we see something bullish. Yeah. Okay. Good. One last thing, ARQ. Just a little small update. Yeah. Again, for me, this is the perfect example again for the fucking market is just fake. What you see here, yeah, is not one company. On the right side, you have Clover Health, ticker CLOV, a health company. On the left side, you have ARQQ Quantum Inc., a cloud company, a cyberspace company. Not even the same branch, but you have a one-to-one chart. If you just hide the names and you just quick look, yeah, this is the fucking same chart. I could be fucking wrong on this. Yeah, tell me. But this is the fucking same chart. So, I would say, yeah, let's see if I'm right, that CLOV on the right side is forecasting ARQ. Yeah. For CLOV, we did a pullback, and our next target is $11 to $13, $15 for just B. If you're doing the pullback, whatever happens after that. For ARQ, we just finished the A pullback, but we didn't broke out yet. But if we zoom in this, I would say for ARQ, we're exactly there where CLOV was weeks ago. So for ARQ, our next push is going to 263 because ARQ is bigger than CLOV. But this looks insane. Yeah. And to make that clear, because I said that in the last video, there are options for ARQ. I don't know why my broker first was most likely my mistake, but there are options for this thing. They are not cheap because the lowest price is $35 for the strike, so they are not really cheap. But I mean, what the hell? How is that possible in a real supply and demand market? How? Are there the same investors who are selling exactly at the same points? Because if it would have been the same branch, if it even would have been the same day, so you could say something happened on all the days. But look, the M was here in November 2022. But here the M was September 2021. The T here was March 2024. But the T here was July 2023. The all-time low was here September 2024. Here was April 2024. You can't tell me no because of market conditions. No. But still, it's the fucking same chart. How is that possible? Or are this investors talking to each other and saying, hey man, yeah, we did this M. Can you sell everything here? Can you buy everything here? Can you sell everything here? Can you massive buy here so our charts look the same? It makes no sense. Which proves, in my opinion, and I don't want to convince anybody, but these things are for me personally the reason why I'm so fucking strong belief in fractals and why I absolutely don't believe in manipulation. I only think that the whole market is just fractal. Otherwise, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, this isn't fucking possible. Okay, so was a kind of shorter video except the explanation for AMC. I hope it was understandable. For the rest, nothing changed. Even with this little market crash today, nothing changed. Even Bed Bath & Beyond went up 13%, so nothing changed. Also, just to say that I try always to keep the homepage as actual, as updated as possible. Yeah. every time, especially when I see that if something is changing in the tracking, I most of the time really immediately update the homepage. And if something is really weird or it's changing something, I also make a YouTube post that I updated the homepage. Yeah, so I really look for it that even if I make the next video in the next 2 days, that the homepage is as updated as possible. Yeah. Only thing is, when nothing in the tracking is changing, like for example Fuser or Riot, for example, I don't need to update it. Yeah, at least not that often, just to update the candles. Yeah, if the bullish tracking is still perfectly, I update when something is changing. Yeah, and for a Riot, for example, I don't have to update it yet. It's doing exactly what we are tracking for. Okay, well, so as always, tutorial here, playlist here, the big roadmap update video back here. If you liked it, give a like. If you want to see more, you can leave an abo. And next video is on Friday. Let's see what happens till then. See ya.